Good morning everybody, Gary the Attitude Adjuster here. Just wanted to say a quick hello to everybody and to thank everybody for subscribing to our channel. It's been a big deal through all that terrible time with all the problems we had with the tractor and everything else with Massey, to finally be here at this end of it where we've finally been paid out, and it's a fantastic day. So it's 5 weeks since they removed the tractor and we've been finally paid out, and we can all move on from this point to much happier days. Just give me 1 second, let's turn this off. Hold a second. Look, I wanted to say thank you to everybody so much for their kind support with their subscriptions and things like that, because it's made such a huge difference to our lives through all of that period of time and the uncertainty and the battling and everything else. You can't grow a channel without support. You can't grow a channel without people's interactions, and YouTube is such a powerful family in real terms, with how much our televisions have gone to garbage with the rubbish that they bombard us into our homes, and our lives is just disgraceful. My wife and I just every single night, you know, look at what is put into the ads, not just the television commercial, you know, in television commercials, not just the movies and things like that, of some of the stuff that you have no right to stop them from putting it in your home, and it's really very irritating. Some of the things that they choose to brainwash you with or to put in your home. But anyway, so we started this channel from the point of view of saying to people, you know, we want it to be like a family where people can get together and chat and share ideas and different parts from around the world. And that's one of the greatest things that you guys have given to me, is specifically you guys have actually interacted with me often on a personal level with your stories. You know, I don't want it just to be my channel and it's just my perspective of life and things like that. I enjoy hearing from people around the world that love flying their drones and that, you know, are busy farming and trying to do things from UK and Canada and America and, you know, Australia and New Zealand and all over the world. It means a lot, you know, and I haven't even, you know, covered all of the countries, and I don't mean to leave anybody out, but it's just a humbling experience to be involved with people at a genuine level, and to be able to share those things and bring you along with us for the journey. Some of the equipment that we utilize and we play with on our work, you know, is a blessing. Like, we are blessed to be able to utilize this machinery to finally have the John Deere tractor here and be able to make serious videos. Now that the money's finally come through, I'll be doing some more shopping and things like that for the stuff where we got stagnated in between, you know, and that's a big deal for us, because we really want to put out the best possible content that we can for people to enjoy and sit back and interact, and hopefully entertain many people with the right sort of quality content. So with what happened with the Massey Ferguson, okay, they took the tractor back, they paid us out. You know, I'm not bagging them, I'm not, all of that side of our lives is past, but what we wanted to make sure that people understood as they went through is that we're not completely closed down to being able to help you. Like, if you know somebody or somebody gets into trouble with equipment like we had happened to us, a lot of our experience is just gold to those people. It will save them a world of heartache and a great deal of losses. The biggest thing is that all through the time that people were supporting us, there's a lot of information where people were saying, oh, take them to court, fight them, you know, do this type of stuff. the way the system is actually configured, not just here in Australia, if you take them to court, they can silence you at some level there, and then your costs with being in court from your legal counsel, by the time the matter's settled, you will walk out of the court, even if it was a fairly large sum of money, with nothing. And many farmers who have been gagged since that time have gone through and said, oh, you know what, I got nothing out of it. The experience was just horrific all the way through. The only thing I can really say is I don't actually have anything to do with those companies anymore. That's the only positive that came out of the whole interaction and whole scenario, which is a terrible thing when you're considering how much money you've lost in lost revenue. Like for us, the experience has been a very trying experience, and you've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars that you should have earned in that time frame. Plus, we should be much further along with these videos and this thing on the property, just from where we should have been if we had equipment working for us. Now, having said don't let them force you into taking them to court is the answer. The thing is, if you make the video content and the video content is truthful, okay, you're talking about the specifics of what is wrong with the equipment, how it's dangerous to you, there's nothing that they can do about that. I have a duty of care to explain to people that might buy a product, okay, whatever the brand, but buy the product and then get into safety issues with that product. I have a duty of care to explain to you that worldwide, and that's something that they could never take away. No company can take away from you. And that's a very important freedom of speech, and an understanding that now social media has grown to be such a powerful, important aspect of our lives, because it's a sharing of information, the sharing of our lives backwards and forwards, and the connection of us living through those experiences that makes all the difference in the world to what you have happen in your life. It affects your family's prosperity. It affects every part of your life. The quality of your life is affected. Your health is affected because you are riding those roller coasters. But having said that, because we created such a family environment of people that worldwide have been helping out with us, and little bits of information here and there, helped to see us through that learning curve of where we were going and trying to apply pressure. The thing to remember about big companies is that they can choose to ignore social media and the customer and the people involved for a long period of time. But understand that they do that at their own peril. And they're used to, and this is not related to tractors, they're used to being able to do this. Car manufacturers are far worse, right? That's why we need lemon laws in Australia, and why the lemon laws issues in the States and other places around the world are so important, because so much product's being made, and it's been made with really poor research and development. They're not, you know, there's no way in the wide world in my situation that the research and development helped out with equipment that you're trying to use. You need to have recourse where you can talk to government departments and say, you know what, I am in an unsafe situation, and have them actually be able to support you through the process. And they should be the ones that actually wear the costs of that. That's what we're told in our country, that we have these safety things in place, and they don't exist. That's the truth of it. And that's something that in Australia, the Malcolm Turnbull government, the Palaszczuk government, the Attorney General's office, who's contacted me over this issue recently, all have to deal with, because the laws need to change, because farmers and workers need to be protected from dangerous equipment. There just should be no place that dangerous equipment can get into those workplaces and then be in those workplaces. You know, it should be a no-brainer that action should be instantaneous. And I think possibly that the Workplace Health and Safety have possibly too higher club in that particular legislation and law they have, that they're unlikely to use that. Okay, they're more likely to go, well, let's just sort of slide out the side here. Their part of their job was twofold. One is to protect the worker, which then is your problem. Okay, you've got something that doesn't work, and you've got the problem as an employer that your workers can't use that equipment, and the loss is yours. Then there's the second part where they are actually responsible for something being sold that's unsafe, or that you know, has willfully been sold unsafe. And because the actual repercussions for that are so severe, they're unwilling to really take that action except as a last resort, and so much pressure has to be applied for that. Now, timelines, if you have equipment like that, don't be like me. Don't be nice. Don't wait for huge amounts of time before you take action, because that was what screwed that system that they had in place there. So, you know, then when you bring politicians in, the politicians come in and they say, well, hold on a minute, the findings were sort of like this. And they manipulate the actual findings of what transpired, so it takes the weight off them and takes the weight off the well, really in that situation, there's only two government departments, the ACCC and Workplace Health and Safety. The Office of Fair Trading, you can forget them at every level. To try and take the load off them. But when they play games like that, it becomes a very dangerous game playing of politicians to say, well, hold on a minute, they didn't act, like they didn't take action, so therefore there wasn't a problem. But the actual problem was found that, yes, unsafe and can't be used. Where they've tried to manipulate those facts and misrepresent those things is very, very dangerous for the politicians, because it means that they're willfully altering that fact. Okay, they found those problems there, and the action was you can't use. That's is actually then a valid issue. The fact that they didn't prosecute came back to time frames and a different set of problems being in place, and that's what the law needs to change. The law needs to change so that government departments can take action where they find that things have been unsafe, because that's the problem we have in the modern world. The amount of equipment, machinery, cars, different goods that are dangerous that are being sold, and the government departments just cannot keep up with that influx, that flood of goods coming into a country, and they're unwilling to, because they've built our whole basis of our economy is on consumerism, which is something else that needs to change within the taxation system, because the planet and our lives cannot sustain that waste. And it doesn't matter whether you melt something down, the resources and the electricity and the rest of the things that it took to make that goods, and then the goods are dangerous and they're not functionally lasting. You look at a tractor like this, life expectancy, what? Come on guys, 30, 40 years, 50 years? There's still John Deere tractors running 50 years old and still going strong and being rebuilt and rerun again. You know, that quality is what we've lost now. We say, well, they work faster, harder and better with all the computers in them, and they do more work, more productive, but they only last us 10 years, and then we're expected to throw them in the bin. That's something we're going to have to seriously look at in the future, is that productivity trade between where we're saying that all the electronics, right, that run the machinery these days mean that it's too easy for companies, and even John Deere is being complained about that they're doing it in the top echelon of the equipment, that farmers do not have access anymore to the grassroots operating systems, even on the diagnostics side of it. When you're buying a tractor worth $200,000 to $500,000 piece of equipment, you know, in the harvesters and stuff like that, and you don't have any ability to buy the diagnostics programs to even diagnose your equipment, that sort of stuff's just not acceptable. But they are happy to push that forward as being what we suffer when we buy equipment. Now that's not good enough. So Those things in the future need to change as we go through demanding better quality products, and that's something that we have to address. And it's something that governments have to start backing up, that we're supported in our needs for safe equipment in our workplaces. Because in Australia, we do not have safe workplaces. Malcolm Turnbull, your government, the whole deal, it's garbage. We do not. You cannot get these things sorted out through the ACCC. The people writing the actual documentation where they go in and investigate are the people who have the reason to cover up these problems. That system can't be tolerated. You can't go in there with your hands over your eyes and ears, you know, going, oh, I can't hear anything, don't want to see anything, oh, da, da, da. Those people are the only ones that wrote that material, and then the inspectors have to make their judgments off that, what's written there. You know, they should be going through it and actually, where the faults are so severe, they should be going through it and actually interviewing some of the owners of the equipment. Even if they pick a certain amount of the people with the biggest warranty issues on those things and go through and ask them the questions. Ask it to them properly, because they never had access to the information I had and I kept going back to. So how is a safe workplace going to be happening on a farm, which we all accept is one of the worst, dangerous environments and occupations there is? You know, we're battling terrain, we're battling weather, we're battling financial stress. So every part of it is linked to then be close to where bad choices are made. You know, people are being forced to run equipment consistently that's not functionally safe because there's no other option given to them. You know, that's what we need to change in the future, and that's the situation with it. So thank goodness our lives now have finalised with that stuff. We can move on to those things, but by all means, if you find somebody who has serious issues with equipment, then get in touch with me, because I have valuable information on how to apply pressure cost effectively and how to get results in getting that equipment either fixed or to get another outcome that's suitable to the person, where that wasn't available before. So some things that are very traumatic end up having good things come from those outcomes, and that in the farming industry, in the agricultural industry, is so important in the future. Thank you so much for joining us. Please subscribe, please like our videos, please comment, please share the information around. If you know people who have problems and issues and are in those situations, then by all means, you know, get them my offline contacts on my email, and also writing to me. If you want to send stuff around to us, things like that, share things, talk about things, and you want to do it privately, by all means, shoot me a message and stuff like that. I'm Gary, my son Joel, I'm the Attitude Adjuster. Thank you very much for joining us, and catch you next time.